Hi, and welcome back to India on 99.94, the home of cricket audio. I'm Nikesh based in the UK, journalist, broadcaster, and commentator. And my co host, Sarah Warris, alongside me as well. Just a reminder that we are your home for India cricket content. We'll be here several times a week with all the latest topics that we hopefully feel that you would like discussed on this podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast apps, on YouTube, and via the 99.94 app. Thank you for joining Cricket's Conversation. Today, we are talking about India versus Pakistan at the Asia Cup. Massive game, Sarah. Biggest
Mm.
rivalry in world cricket. You work for Wisden right now. I did a podcast series for Wisden during the first pandemic, during the first COVID lockdown here in the UK in 2020, with my colleague Atif Nawaz, who I do commentary with for the BBC as well. He's a British Pakistani. I'm a British Indian. We went down memory lane. We went back to 1952 and all the way up to the present day and discussed classic matches, classic series, big moments, spoke to legends of the game. And just talking about that right now, it's got me excited. It must be the same for you as well. Whenever it's India versus Pakistan, they could play in anything, couldn't they? They could play
Yeah.
tiddlywinks, they could play chess, whatever it might. They could have a kickabout in the field behind my house. And if you've got India shirts and Pakistan shirts, people would want to
Mm.
watch that. There'll be interest, won't there?
Yeah, it's I've not been so lucky like everyone. I've started following cricket very late when it was just bilaterals were not as frequent. So I've not really seen a lot of those bilateral series. I've just had to wait for years to see those one-off matches. Unfortunately, in the last 10-15 years, the matches have not been very close. It's often been one-sided contests. So I'm kind of envious of the people who used to stay up, get excited for India Pakistan, have 5 or 7 matches on a single series, stay up, and all the conversations around them. Uh, but yeah, very excited. Looking forward to the Asia Cup. There can potentially be 3 matches. It's very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about bilateral series not being frequent. I mean, that's happened over so many years, just generally as well. I mean, we only go by our own generation, and look, we haven't had them playing against each other in a proper full bilateral series since 2007. Yeah, there was that white ball series, very short series where Pakistan toured India over a Christmas period one year
Yeah.
in 2012, but I mean, you can't really call that a proper full tour. That was probably an attempt at some sort of peace-making mission or whatever. But 2007 was the last full tour, so there's a whole generation of fans who just wouldn't have seen them play against each other. I remember talking to Farouk Engineer on my Wisdom podcast, and Asif Iqbal was on him for that episode as well from Pakistan. And Rookie never played against Pakistan in his entire career because the 1971 war was there and relations had broken off a couple of years before that, and they didn't play from basically the late 60s to I think it was 77, 78. So his whole career he didn't play against Pakistan, and then they kind of played a little bit more regularly through the 80s, and then it kind of stopped a little bit once again through the mid 90s, and Pakistan then came and toured India in 99, and then there was another few years gap, and then I remember 2004, 5, 6, and 7. There were tours every year. It almost felt like too much India Pakistan cricket at that point. So for
Like India,
those of
Sri
us,
Lanka.
yeah, it was a little bit like that because the 2004 series was the Friendship Series. It was called, where India toured Pakistan for the first time, and I think it was 16 years or 15 years since Tendulkar made his debut, basically in 1989, and they hadn't been back since. So they went back in 2004 and won for the first time there in a Test series, winning the Test series and winning the ODI series at the time as well. It was absolutely brilliant, and the friendship between the two nations at the time, the two sets of fans, the Indian fans traveling over to Pakistan, and You hear stories of them not getting charged. They're going to shops, they're eating out in restaurants, they're staying in guest houses, and the Pakistan public are not charging them for anything. So they basically got a free trip there just out of friendship. And then the Pakistan fans who were granted a visa to come over in '05, it was the same thing in India as well. They were just not getting charged anywhere they went. Oh, you're here for the cricket, you're from Pakistan. Here, have a free meal, have a free room in a guest house or whatever. It was just great. The whole thing was great. The cricket was great. Both sides had legendary players in those squads at the time as well, which I think made it even more special, and just great times. And it's so sad. I mean, I was lucky
Yeah.
that, when I was a kid, I didn't really, when I was a small kid, didn't really see them play against each other. The '99 series, I was a bit young. Plus, we didn't get the live broadcast in England. We had to wait for highlights to come at the weekend and things like that. And '04 was the first time I saw these sides play together in a series, and it was fantastic. And then we got it year after year until '07. And looking back on it, it might have felt too much at the time, but it was just
Yeah.
brilliant. And how lucky we were to see that, and how lucky we are whenever they do take to the field. Look, we've got to be grateful for these small moments that we get in either ICC tournaments or Asia Cups. And
One
again,
small
that
memory I have of
yeah,
India Pakistan. So I saw the match live at Eden Gardens during the 2016 T20 World Cup. So like that was a big dream, so to say, like a big tick, like check
yeah,
box fulfilled. The match was originally supposed to be in Dharmshala, but because of political reasons, all of Pakistan's matches were shifted to Eden Gardens and India Pakistan also. I was very lucky to get tickets. There was the system of ICC, like they had the lottery system for tickets back during the 2016 World Cup. I was very lucky. My name came like in that lottery, and then I got tickets for the final also, which was also in Eden. So yeah, I was pretty lucky.
yeah,
Uh, it
fantastic.
was
But you've
yeah.
been lucky, Sarah. You've been lucky because
Have you seen India
you
Pakistan like
yeah,
live?
many
You must
times,
have.
through
Yeah.
work, and I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to do the job that I do and be able to commentate on these matches, for the BBC and for others as well. It's my favorite moment of watching was in Adelaide at the 2015
Oh wow.
Cricket
Yeah.
World Cup, just because it was my first time to Adelaide in the new Adelaide Stadium. Fantastic stadium, honestly. My favorite stadium in all of world cricket to be at, to be working from, basically. Not just because the media facilities are great, but the whole stadium as a whole, the welcome from the locals in Adelaide. It's not a big city. It's quite a small place, massive ground, but quite a small town. It's intimate. The whole town was basically taken over by India and Pakistan supporters and people from the media, and the whole world's media was there really for that match. And obviously, India were on the right end of the result.
Yeah.
Kohli got runs. Beautiful sunset over the stands as India are about to win that match. It was a day-nighter, and it just fabulous,
Yeah.
fabulous atmosphere that there was there. So that's probably my favourite memory. I was also there, I have to say. I was there for quite a few of the matches, but one that does stand out for the wrong reasons was the 2017 Champions Trophy, the final, obviously. The first match
Yeah.
I was there for as well. That was great. That was business as usual. Um, but I was there as a fan for the 2004 Champions Trophy as well, which India lost at Edgbaston. So I was there with my dad for that one. This was when I was just a teenager. Um, so yeah, there's been more good memories than bad from an Indian perspective and watching. And that's what I was saying. You've been lucky because you've started following cricket in an era where India have become this dominant
Yeah.
force in world cricket. I grew up in the 90s, and particularly late 90s, and that 99 series. I just remember Pakistan going 1-0 up in the series in Chennai, it was, and Tendulkar not able to get India over the line with that brilliant fourth innings century, but just falling short. And it was typical of India then. Tendulkar can't do it, then nobody can. Everybody else just collapsed like a pack of cards. And then Shoaib Akhtar doing what he did I mean, India winning the second test, Kumble 10 wickets, that was great. So the series was officially drawn 1-1, But then they had this third test match, which was kind of added on at Eden Gardens, and Shoaib Akhtar wasn't part of the first two test matches, and he just sort of was bursting onto the scene at that point. And he silenced Eden Gardens with Sachin and Dravid's wicket consecutively, and
Yeah.
Sachin out for a duck in that one. Dravid was batting well, and he was gone in that same over as well, and just completely silenced Eden Gardens. Pakistan going on to win that match, and they say win the series. The series was officially drawn 1-1, and this was another one-off test match. I don't know what the reason was, whether it was some sort of anniversary or whatever it was. It was a one-off test match at Eden Gardens. But anyway, they played three test matches. India lost two of them. And Pakistan were just, at that point in time, the 99 Cricket World Cup, they were brilliant. I mean, what a side they had. They were benching Waqar Yunis and Azhar Mahmood and Shahid Afridi. That's how much strength they had, that they didn't need to play these guys in their first 11 just because of how good they were. And they got to the final and, got beaten by one of the best Aussie sides of all time. But apart from that, they were completely dominant. They came to England and won in the mid 90s in a test series when India just looked all at sea in that same summer. So I grew up in that time where we just were no good. We used to beat them
Yeah.
at World Cups, and that's about it.
I
Apart from that, we used to get hammered more often than not in Sharjah, all that kind of stuff. And then for 2004 to come and for us to start
yeah.
beating them, that was brilliant. I mean, you've come into it in a privileged point of
Yeah.
view from an Indian fan.
My
It must
mother
be great.
tells
Do
me.
you have that
Yeah.
expectation whenever India play Pakistan that, look, I've seen
Yeah.
India played Pakistan from 2011, whatever it was, and we normally just beat them. We're going to do it again, right? I still have the feeling of, oh, it's Pakistan. You get a bit nervous. How do you feel? Are
So
you just
I
always confident?
someone tagged me in a tweet today. This was my tweet before the 2021 World Cup match last year. I didn't remember it. Someone sent it to me. So my tweet was, "Is it only me, or am I more excited for India New Zealand?" So and not India Pakistan, because somehow I was like, "Oh, India is going to beat Pakistan." I think the person who tagged me is from Pakistan, so that's why he's like, any more predictions this time. So yeah, it's like India always beats Pakistan. The 2017 Champions Trophy was just a one-off. Uh, this tweet of
Champions
mine,
trophies, though, it's
yeah,
they've done it previously.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
given that.
yeah,
But the T20 World Cup last time,
yeah.
that was the first time
So
they've
this tweet,
beaten India
yeah,
in a
this tweet
World Cup.
probably shows complacency from not only my side. Everyone probably was expecting, okay, India will defeat Pakistan. Is just going to be a walk in the park for them. What followed was just heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak. And
Yeah.
as you said, I've been privileged to grow up in an era where India win more than they lose. My mother, she followed sports. I think because of her, I came into cricket more, because she liked watching not only cricket but sports overall. So she used to tell me back in the 90s, India used to just keep losing, and
It was all
yeah, it
those
was just a
Sharjah series,
disaster. Yeah, it was just a disaster to
Yeah.
watch them.
I mean, in
Um,
Sharjah, we used to do that
yeah,
quite a lot. I've got bad memories of Sharjah. People talk about Sachin and the Desert Storm and all that. That was great. That was one of
yeah,
the great years, but they used to go there pretty much every
yeah.
year. And Pakistan would more often than not beat India in the big matches. And
I
yeah,
can't
just
imagine how that must be, because India lost to England in the fifth test, and I was just heartbroken for at least 1 2 days. I was like,
Sarah,
how
don't
could
worry.
they?
It's not
So
it's not the fifth
yeah,
test. It was a one-off test.
it
We
was a
won the
one-off
series
test.
2-1 in
Yeah,
2021. Come on. I mean, it's surely
yeah,
anyone with any all right, on paper it will go down. In the official records, India drew the series 2-2, which
yeah.
is not a bad
We
result
know.
against a side that's playing like that. We shouldn't have lost that test in 2021. That was the issue, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The one at
And the
Headingley, which was
one
just
match, yeah,
yeah.
I think the first match, India could have won. Rain, oh, like
Yeah, all
it
sorts.
rained.
I mean,
So
look,
yeah,
those kind of things you can't do much about. But when you're coming back the following year with both
yeah,
sides completely different coaching setups, captains, selection of players, it's difficult to sort of consider it as part of the same series. So
Yeah.
we'll just say, don't worry, we'll just on this podcast, 99.94 in our records, it goes down as an India win in the four-match series in 2021. Won that series 2-1. And there's a great poster that Wisden have got on sale at the moment, or they certainly had up until recently. London has fallen with a picture of Virat Kohli celebrating. It's like a
Yeah.
mock movie poster. And
Yeah.
I think I can't remember the other two players in the background there as well, but that's a fantastic one.
Siraj,
Wins,
Bumrah,
yeah,
not sure.
Siraj, he took the final wicket at Lords, of course, in that win there. One at the Oval as well, of course. Was that Shardul taking the final wicket there? It might have been Shardul or Siraj, one or the other. It was Jimmy Anderson, feathered one behind. But yeah, London certainly fell and England fell in 2021. And we'll just call the 2022. Look, it's just a one-off. Look, we're just
Yeah.
letting England earn a bit of money that they lost out on for that fifth test in 2021. So that was it really. That's the 99.94 records anyway. And just a reminder that 99.94 is more than just this podcast. Jared Kimber has got Red Inker that focuses on deep issues from within the global game. There's also Double Century, a look at the history of the game. We've been going down memory lane just a moment or two here as well. There are other podcasts from other teams. West Indies on 99.94, the best Caribbean coverage. You've got England on 99.94. You're guaranteed to be entertained on that one. We've got a Northerner and a Southerner trying to discuss all things English cricket. South Africa at 99.94 is also looking at the radically changing nature of cricket in the Rainbow Nation. You can find them all on your usual podcast apps, on YouTube, and on the 99.94 app as well. And so just a quick one as well. You talked about your mum there. It's funny, isn't it? When look, my dad's a hardcore cricket fan, always has been. He's the reason why I'm into cricket and sport. I mean, he'll watch any sport on TV or in person. He just I remember him watching things like speed skating when I was a kid because there was no other sport on. So he's a sport nut and a cricket nut as well. But my mum, when I was growing up, look, she had no real interest in cricket. She'd keep across maybe the scores or whatever. But the first time I really saw her getting into it, and she has got really into Indian cricket in recent times, was 2003 World Cup in South Africa, India versus Pakistan. That Sachin Tendulkar 98 off 50 odd to beat Pakistan and that great side that they had at the time. And, we're chasing 270 odd. In those days, that was a big
Yeah.
target in a big match. That was high pressure. And before the match, I remember I used to get up early, watch all the previews, and just get myself psyched up for the occasion, put on my favorite India top and all that kind of stuff. I remember my mum got up even earlier than me, and we've got this. Well, this was in our old house at the time when I used to live with them, and small mandir in the house, as most Hindu families do.
Yeah.
She was just praying. She was doing puja all morning, just praying
Yeah.
for India to win the match. And then when it came to the first ball, I thought she'd come in and join me and my dad and watch the game and all that. She couldn't watch. She was so nervous. She was in the back somewhere. She was in and out the kitchen. She was just doing chores and just trying to keep herself busy. And she'd pop her head in every now and again. What's the score? Oh God! And Syed Anwar was still in, but that was the first
Yeah.
time I saw it. And it's funny what India versus Pakistan does to people, especially people who aren't really that into cricket or that hardcore into cricket. But when it's a big occasion like this, I mean, the hype in India right now must be huge, right? Not quite as big as if it was a World Cup match, of
Yeah.
course, but look, it's still India versus Pakistan, isn't it? Has it been all over the media? Has it been all over TV, all over news, all over all these YouTube channels over there? Is that what you're seeing at the moment?
Yeah, India Pakistan is always huge. There's this funny saying that, India Pakistan, everyone becomes a cricket expert. They've not watched cricket for 5 years, but in India Pakistan, and they all have an opinion on what this player should have done or could have done. It's been exciting everywhere. It's like, yeah, okay, India Pakistan is coming up, and the fact that there could be 3 matches is further, kind of like we've all been limited to one match in one tournament, one match in 4 5 years, 2 3 years between the two sides. Now potentially three matches and then one more in the T20 World Cup. So yeah, it's
It's
time.
huge, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's huge. Yeah.
huge. Right, let's look at the sides then. India, we've talked about their in our previous episode, their batting and their bowling and the kind of makeup of the squad. Pakistan as well, relying, we think, a lot on their top order or their top two, really, in the batting lineup. There's no Shaheen Shah Afridi, there's no Bumrah as well for India. Pakistan having the extra sort of quick bowling options in terms of speedsters, the likes of Naseem Shah, etc., Mohammad Hasnain as well in there. What do you think it's going to come down to? Let's who do you think is going to play first? Let's go down that route. So from an Indian point of view, let's start with the batting. I think Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, guaranteed,
Is
100%,
this your
no
11
doubt.
or is this the 11 they're realistically going to go
I
in?
think they're realistically going to
Yeah.
play. Yeah, if I was
Yeah.
to do my 11, it might look slightly different, but
Yeah.
I think they're going to go with those three, guaranteed.
Hmm.
Yeah, top three we're agreed on:
Yeah.
Rohit, KL, and Virat. Who bats at four? I mean, you've got
I
look,
think
these are the
Kumar
options, right? You've
is
got
yeah.
Sky, Huda,
Yeah.
Rishabh Pant. I mean, you could have floating batters like
Yeah.
Rishabh Pant doesn't need to come in at four. He could
I
come in
think
at
Surya
four.
Kumar is a lock in.
He's got to be locked in, right?
Yeah.
Then it gets interesting. I mean, you could put Suryakumar a
Hmm.
bit lower because sometimes they have used him in a finishing role,
Yeah.
haven't they, as well? And if you feel Rishabh Pant just seems in the zone today, you might push him up the order or
But then the
whatever it
issue
might
with
be.
that will be, you have KL Rahul, not the best striker on his day. He's good, but on his day, he's 125 strike rate. There's Rahul, Kohli at three, and then Pant, who does not have the best strike rate in T20 eyes. It's around one.
So
It's
does
less than
Pant play then?
130. Um, I think he will
Does
play
DK
India.
play?
Yeah, that's. I think this. I think TK unfortunately will be the one missing out. Pant, he India love him. We all know what he can do. ODIs in the recent series against England, he scored that fabulous 100. I don't think he is not going to play. DK's place, yeah, is tricky. The other thing with DK is, he just comes in the last 5 overs. India have kept that role for him. So what if India are 10 for 3? They can just push DK. Like, I don't think DK is going to bat up the order. We've seen even players like Akshar Patel walk out before him just so Dinesh Karthik's entry point is secured. His entry point is between 14 15 after those overs. He has a strike rate of around 120 in the middle overs. He struggles against spin. So he's the kind of player who can only, kind of play in the last 5 overs. Do India want to go in with kind of a one dimensional player is worth asking. He's a high risk, high reward kind of player. If he gets going, he scores those 50 and 20 balls. But if he doesn't, he's taking up a spot, only batting in the last 4 5 overs, not bowling, not keeping. D- like, is he taking up a spot, or
Potentially.
that's a
So look,
yeah.
this is what I've got down for the 11, right? So the top three we've got locked in: Rohit, KL, Virat Kohli, and they'll probably come in that order as well. Although, yeah, I mean, if it was me, this is the change I'd make. KL, see you later, son. Doesn't matter if you're vice captain or not. Virat has to open, I think, to get the best out of him. Power play overs, play proper shots, find the
Yeah.
gaps. That suits him better, and we saw that in that 2016 IPL season, didn't we? I think that's the best place for him still. And if he's going to be in a T20 side, and that's debatable as well, he has to open.
Yeah.
Coming in at three is no good because what if they put on 50 for the first wicket in decent time, but not not 50 off 5 overs, but they do 50 off 7.5 overs, and then Kohli comes in and gets himself set and does his
Yeah.
is he going to be able to go hard from ball one? Well, we've seen him try in recent times, but he's not been in the best of form. So jury's still out on that one. But anyway, I think they'll go with those three, with Virat coming in at three, Sky 4/5, Rishabh 4/5. So there's 4 and 5 sorted. And then you're right. I think Deepak Huda is going to miss out. I think Dinesh Karthik's going to miss out.
Yeah.
They're going to go Hardik because they're going to need that extra bowling
And
option.
Hardik is like one of the certainties,
Yeah.
surely.
I mean, he's had
Yeah.
a, he's been in great form through the last IPL, and whenever he's been in India colours recently,
Yeah.
he's bowling now, which is the extra dimension to his game. Jadeja, I think, comes in at 7. You might debate that, but I think that's
Yeah.
what they're going to go with. And then you've got your 4 bowlers in no particular order. You've probably got Bhuvi, Yuzi Chahal, I think Bishnoi, and Arshdeep. And the reason
Okay.
I've not gone with Ashwin is because, as I say, I think he's the fourth spinning option,
Yeah.
and I think they'll probably rather go with Bishnoi in there. And Arshdeep, for his death specialty, I know Bhuvi can do it as well, but it's always good to have two of them. And Avesh has the capability of going for quite a few runs when he doesn't quite get it right as well. So that's what I reckon. Do you reckon they'll go with pretty much that lineup? So to miss out, Deepak Huda, DK, Ashwin, Avesh Khan.
Yeah. I'm unsure of Bish I'm unsure of Bishnoi in my 11. Um
In your 11 or in the 11 that they're going to pick? Because that's what we're talking about.
yeah.
Our 11s might be different, but do you think they'll? Because it's going to be a straight shootout, isn't it? It's going to be either Bishnoi or Ashwin. They're not going to go with an extra seamer, are they, in those conditions? Because
Yeah.
if they've got 3 seaming options, including Hardik Pandya, that's enough, right, for the UAE. And
So
then if they got 3 spinning options as well,
isn't having Deepak Huda, like, he strengthens the, if there's no Dinesh Karthik, he strengthens your batting, and he can bowl a few overs as well. So yeah, he's not the kind of spinner which Bishnoi is, obviously. Uh but there's already Jadeja, there's Chahal, and Huda can do a decent job.
but
He's
that
got very
means
few
that
chances.
yeah,
Yeah.
that means that one of Deepak Huda, Jadeja, or Pandya, probably not Deepak Huda, but one of those three is going to have to
Yeah.
bowl their full quota
I'm
as
hoping
well.
Hardik is
So
fully fit to keep bowling his 4 overs for next
yeah, but
many
he
more
can, and if
years.
he's bowling
Yeah.
well, that's fine. But then
Yeah.
Jadeja's not the best T20 bowler. Huda's
Yeah.
a part timer. Hardik can go for runs. That's the only risk I see.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Bishnoi can go for runs, but Bishnoi, that bit of mystery. They've not faced him before, Pakistan. That's another thing as
Yeah.
well, isn't it? They won't have seen too much. Obviously, they've done all the analysis and the videos and all that, but it's not the same as facing this guy in the middle. He's not a conventional spinner, is he?
Is his
It's a little
selection a
bit more
surprise
difficult.
to you, or do you think they could have probably gone with Akshar Patel in the squad instead of Bishnoi?
If you've
Because
got
Akshar,
Jadeja, Akshay
yeah,
Patel's not going to play.
fair,
That's the
yeah,
only issue. Unless Jadeja gets
yeah,
injured, you wouldn't play him. But look,
mm,
it'd be interesting to see which route they go down. But we're probably agreed that they're not going to go more than 3 seamers, including Hardik Pandya as the
yeah,
all-rounder. So 2 frontline seamers and then Hardik, and then 3 spinners, and whether that be Huda as a part-time spinner and an extra batting option, or it'd be interesting. But that's what I think they're going to do. They tend to go back to what they know best and what they're least scared of, what they see as the least risk when it comes to these big matches. There hasn't been that much risk taking in the selection in big matches in recent times from
yeah.
India. In terms of Pakistan, then
Also, just one, like, India's new approach, so to say, have they've they've not played against very strong sides. England, obviously, in T20Is, like this year they played Ireland, they've played West Indies. So these are not very strong sides. So this new approach is yet to be tested
not
against.
bad though. They're not bad. I mean, look,
Yeah,
Ireland, okay, I agree, but
yeah,
the Ireland can compete as we've seen against some
yeah,
side. But England are a top side. You've got to
Yeah,
agree with
but
that. Yeah, they
there
might
were
not have their
three
full
three
quota of
T20 guys
players.
then, so
Yeah,
it's still how it sustains over a long time if
yeah,
these players can do it against uh better teams, higher ranked teams
yeah. And
over
the
a
West
longer
Indies as
period.
well.
Yeah,
No mugs, but yeah, you're right.
yeah,
They need
but
to do it on a more consistent
yeah.
basis, and still quite early in
Sri
that. So
Lanka, they did
yeah,
against Sri Lanka, but we know Sri Lanka is not really up there.
yeah.
So yeah,
So in terms of Pakistan, then India are going to go all out attack. Pakistan probably just do what they know best in T20s, right? They'll back their openers, Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan. They'll hope Fakhar Zaman and some of the other guys in the middle order can pull off some shocks. They'll hope that without Shaheen, that they've got enough firepower in attack. I mean, look, they're littered with seamers, as India are overall. Maybe not in this squad, but they're blessed with some talented seamers, shall we say. But Nasim Shah has not been proven at T20 level.
yeah,
Even at Test level, he's a very young, very raw prospect. Mohamed Hasnain has been playing over in the 100 here in England and is now part of the squad. And there's a bit of controversy over his action in recent times, and he's come back and all is good, we're told. But Marcus Stoinis got himself in a bit of
yeah.
trouble when he was playing against him in the 100 for suggesting that he was chucking the ball. But he's a very fast bowler once again. When he gets in his rhythm, he can be quick. He can cause a lot of problems for the batters. Harris Rauf, as well, another one who's done well in franchise cricket around the world. Are they maybe lacking in the spin department? I mean, I don't look down there and I mean, there's no name that sticks out. There's no Sakleen Mushtaq. There's no Mushtaq Ahmed. There's no Shahid Afridi. There's no Saeed Ajmal. There's no Yasir Shah. They've had some great spinners over the years. They haven't got anyone now, have they? They've not got a great spinner. Is that going to be a problem?
Shatab Khan is there,
Shadab's
but
okay.
yeah, he's okay.
He's not
Potentially the
of that
one to
level though, is
trouble.
he?
Yeah, put the one to trouble Virat Kohli, you'd say probably. Uh, he's
Yeah.
struggled against spinners. Uh, so that would be a matchup that could be interesting. Um, you spoke about the bowling lineup. Bowling, there's Dhani also, but he's not bowl. He's not a new ball. He doesn't take the new ball often. There is, yeah, I think,
A lot of people like him though in
yeah,
Pakistan. I've not seen much of him myself,
yeah,
apart from when he was taking selfies with Dhoni in the T20 World Cup on the outfield after that game, and he was a substitute in that one. But every time there's an injury to, like,
yeah,
say, Shaheen, for instance, and their Pakistan cricket Twitter is discussing what the options are, and I have a cheeky look at some of my journalist friends, and all the comments suggest, "Oh, get the honey in there, get the honey in there. He's the man. He's the future." So a
yeah.
lot of people like him. I've not seen him play live, so I can't comment on that. But
Even
highly
Mohammad
rated from
Wasim, yeah,
within.
yeah. Even Mohammad Wasim, he has. I was just looking up some stats and
Junior,
yeah,
Wasim Junior,
junior
yeah,
in the
yeah.
he has a economy rate of over 10 in the power play overs. This was in the 2022 PSL. Again, not a new bowler. But with Pakistan, you just know that they have too many fast bowlers, and on that day, you never know like who comes in and just destroys India, so to say. So let's not be complacent. They're still like very. You never know what can happen because they all have the talent. They all have pace. So yeah,
Well, wait and see what happens on the day. I think it could be a battle of the spinners throughout the tournament. We'll wait and see how it goes in this particular match, the one that the world of cricket is waiting for. One quick question, in fact, two questions. Firstly, I want you to predict India versus Pakistan. How's it going to go on the
I think
day? I'll
India
tell
is
you
going to
mine.
win.
India will win
Yep,
easily. Going to be a tight contest.
easily. Should I predict the next three? I'm predicting three matches of India Pakistan. I think two will be easy
Okay,
wins. One will be a little close match.
the final. Maybe the
Hoping.
final.
Yeah.
Look, I think if India turn up and play anywhere near their best, so 90 odd percent of their capabilities, they should win. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
T20 cricket. It takes one performance from the opposition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And somebody could individually win the match. So, Fakhar Zaman could have another freak day. I mean, yeah, he scored that 100 in the 2017 Champions Trophy final. He didn't really middle a ball until he got to about 80. And it
Yeah.
wasn't, he was just slogging really, but it came off, didn't it? It came off. And somebody like him could do it again. There could be a fantastic bowling performance. I mean, Shadab could run through our side with his spin, or it could be one of the quicks, couldn't it? It could be a Naseem Shah or
Yeah.
Mohammed Hasnain or someone like that who just
India 10 for
runs
3
through.
again.
Yeah, so
It
then it's
always like
game
it's
over.
very strange. They are just these 45 minutes of bad play, as Kohli says, often comes back in these pressure situations, 10 for 3. And it's always when you want, okay, everything should go well today. It's probably pressure getting to them, or I don't know what. It's just India somehow find a way to just lose when they are going so well, and you are like, okay, they will win this match, but then suddenly it's just 45 minutes of bad play and they are
Yeah, look, I
not
think
there.
they should win on Sunday, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and everything else for that one. We'll be both watching on, as I'm sure all of you guys will, and do join us after as well. The day after, we'll be recording another podcast just to review what happened in India versus Pakistan and look ahead to the rest of the games in the Asia Cup as well. Another quick question for you, Sarah, just to finish up on very briefly. Does anyone care about the Asia Cup? Is it important? Is it just Asian teams who care, or do they even care? Is it just
I think
too
first
much
of all,
cricket and another tournament just squeezed in there for the sake of it?
I think first of all it's because of the history, but second and most importantly, I think it's just India Pakistan. Off late, it's just become a battle of India Pakistan matches, another opportunity for both teams to play together. We are not complaining, we are deprived of watching these two very talented teams play regularly. So we'll take whatever comes our way. And even if people don't really care about the Asia Cup, everyone is going to watch India Pakistan. So I think the significance of the match between these two countries is more than the overall what Asia Cup, who wins the Asia Cup. Yeah, okay, whoever wins, great. But India Pakistan, 3 matches, they should be close, good games. Lot of talented players. Babar Azam, Kohli, after that tweet of his recently, is just added another dimension to this battle. So yeah, looking forward to it, and hopefully it's 3 good games. I'm saying three, I'm assuming it's 3 India Pakistan matches. Hopefully
Yeah,
it's
but
three.
let's not
Yeah.
forget the other side's involved as well. We don't want to be disrespectful to them, and
Yeah.
we're of course not. We've talked about their strengths and weaknesses as well in our previous episode. But Sunday is all about India versus Pakistan. Hopefully, from this podcast point of view, another India victory on the big stage against their arch rivals. Whatever happens, we'll bring you the reaction to that one. But that's about all we've got time for on this episode. Enjoy the game and join us again very soon.